Y'all spoke and I listened. Today, we're talking about what might just be the most underrated credit card ecosystem out of them all, Wells Fargo. Over the past couple of years, Wells Fargo went from one of the weakest to one of the strongest, rivaling the likes of Chase, Citi, Amex, and Capital One. And I want to cover all of their credit cards in this video today, including the co-branded ones, to show y'all why you need to stop sleeping on them. Let's kick it off with what I would say is probably the best card in their entire ecosystem, the Wells Fargo Autograph card. This is one of their no annual fee card products, and it comes with a really solid 3x earning rate for a lot of everyday spending categories like restaurants, travel, gas and EV charging, transit, streaming services, and phone plans, and then 1x on everything else. From that list, the only major gap that I see is groceries, and unfortunately, none of Wells Fargo's cards are going to cover that at anything above 2x back, which is a bit of a hole there. But that's easily solved, in my opinion, by going and getting the PayPal debit card that covers you at 5% cash back on your grocery store purchases without impacting your credit report at all. The Autograph has always been a really solid credit card, but it's actually gotten even better recently. And not because Wells Fargo made any changes to it, but actually because all of the other lenders are making changes to their ecosystems. As you all know at this point, Chase recently refreshed the Chase Sapphire Reserve, a card that used to give you 3x back on all general travel purchases, but now does not. That immediately left a ton of people who would use the Sapphire Reserve for all of their, Airbnb purchases, cruise purchases, all of that, looking for another card to cover that for them. And lo and behold, you have the Wells Fargo Autograph card that gives you that same 3x category with no annual fee. Covering travel, transit, restaurants, gas, phone plans, and streaming on a free card already sets it above the rest, but it doesn't stop there. This card also comes with Visa signature perks, including the access to the luxury hotel collection. It has cell phone protection up to $600, which pairs nicely with that 3x earning rate on phone plans. It has no foreign transaction fees, a secondary auto collision damage waiver, a 20,000 point welcome offer for just $1,000 spent in 3 months, 0% intro APR for 12 months, and more. It doesn't really seem like we can say any more good things about this card since we've already covered so much. But what really puts it in a category of its own in that no annual fee card area is that it's not just a cashback credit card. It earns Wells Fargo rewards points instead. And with this card or its $95 big brother, the Autograph Journey that we'll talk about next, you can transfer all of the points earned on it to Wells Fargo's list of transfer partners, which drastically can increase the value of those points. Real quick, I just wanted to jump in here and say that today's video is actually sponsored by me. For the past 8 months or so, I've been building something behind the scenes with Excel aficionado, the Jordan rules for credit, called the Credit Card Blueprint. Leading up to this, y'all have seen some sneak peeks in videos and live streams, and so far the feedback has been amazing. And at a high level, this is a smart, automated spreadsheet that adapts to your setup, calculates your effective annual fees for you, builds out your credit card roadmap, and helps you get the most out of your points through redemption calculators and a transfer partner guide that is completely customized to the cards that you have in your setup. And the reason I'm bringing it up today is because next week, December 1st, we'll be doing a limited release of the product where 50 people can get it at a discounted rate. The full public access will come later, but the discount won't. So if you want in early, make sure that you're on the newsletter link that is in the description of all of my videos. That way you're the first to be notified. Regardless of whether or not you purchase it, I just want to say thank y'all so much for all of the support. This is one of those kind of like scarier steps that I've made in this YouTube journey so far. But I know that if this blueprint is even just half as helpful for y'all as it has been for us, then it's going to be a success. So yeah, go ahead and get on that newsletter list. And with that being said, let's jump back into it. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and take some time to dive deeper into the Wells Fargo Rewards program so you can see just how powerful it really is. Just for reference, the cards in Wells Fargo's ecosystem that earns these rewards points are going to be the Autograph card, the Autograph Journey, the Attune, the Active Cash, and the Signify Business Cash cards, all of which we'll be talking about today. One of the biggest strengths within the Wells Fargo Rewards ecosystem is flexibility, which is a reason that I rank Chase and Citi so highly as well. Not only can you redeem your points for cashback at 1 cent per point anytime you want to, which makes it a solid cashback setup, you can also do the same through their travel portal. But what really changed the game for them this year was the introduction of those transfer partners. That upgrade is what took Wells Fargo from just a solid cashback setup to a true top-tier competitor. Now, of course, people are always going to find a reason to complain about something, and with the introduction of these partners, it has been that it's a very small list, only 8 lenders total right now. That is definitely small in comparison to the rest of the lenders that are offering anywhere from like 14 to 21 partners. But if you know what you're doing in this game, then you can do some real damage with them. Their full lineup includes Aer Lingus, Air France KLM Flying Blue, Avianca, British Airways, Iberia, Virgin Atlantic and Virgin Red, and JetBlue, all at a 1-to-1 rate, as well as Choice Privileges hotels at a 1-to-2 rate. It's not a long list, but it's a very high impact list with access to some of the strongest airline programs like Avios and a broad hotel coverage of Choice hotels. Don't get me wrong, I do understand why some people immediately dismiss Wells Fargo's list because they don't have, direct transfer access to a domestic airline aside from JetBlue. But with just a tiny bit of effort and airline alliance knowledge, that weakness basically disappears. For example, you can use Avios, which is the points currency that you'd be transferring to whenever you transfer to Aer Lingus, British Airways, or Iberia to book American Airlines flights. You can use Virgin Atlantic Flying Club miles to book Delta flights, or you can use Avianca Life miles to book United flights, and suddenly that small list of partners becomes a lot more expansive. A lot of people love to shrug off Choice hotels too, and I understand why, because maybe they're seen as more of a budget chain. But I'd venture to say that 90% of people that don't like Choice haven't actually used them. Not only do they have access to those really affordable chains like Comfort Inn, Sleep Inn, and Woodspring Suites, but they also have mid to high tier properties that can push your redemption values much higher. To illustrate this, I'll show you two real life examples. First is the Hotel Aquarius Venice, which is part of the Ascend collection. And looking at this dummy booking here, it would cost 213 euros per night or 248 US dollars or 24,000 Choice points instead. Running a quick cent per point calculation, that would come out to 1 cent per point, which is not great on the surface. But remember that Wells Fargo transfers to Choice at a 1-to-2 rate. So bang, right there, you now have a 2 cent per point valuation for your Wells Fargo rewards points using a hotel chain you've basically never heard of. The second example is the Clarion Hotel Post, which is in Sweden. The cash price for that one was 1,655 SEK, so the Swedish currency, or 176 US dollars, or 20,000 Choice points per night instead. Running a cent per point calculation again and multiplying by 2, since we get that 1-to-2 transfer rate, that is a 1.76 cent per point redemption of Wells Fargo rewards, which is still rivaling the average Hyatt redemption value that we all regard so highly. Obviously, those examples are not hotels that you're going to be booking every single weekend, but it just goes to show that with a little effort, you can get a lot of value. And also, since Choice properties on average are so much cheaper than all of the other hotels out there, you can stretch your Wells Fargo rewards points a lot further for hotel stays than you might be able to do with a Chase to Hyatt transfer, for example. While we're on the topic of Choice hotels, it only makes sense to cover their credit card products that are offered by Wells Fargo. One of them has no annual fee, and the other has a $95 annual fee. Their base welcome offers are anywhere from 40 to 60,000 points. They give you 16x and 22x back on Choice properties individually, 3x and 5x back on gas, groceries, home improvement, and phone plans, automatic gold status on the no annual fee card, and platinum on the select card. And on the select card, you also get 30,000 anniversary points every single year, plus a TSA pre-check or global entry credit. Even if you just got these cards for their welcome offers, you could book a good amount of nights at their cheaper properties. And although I'm not super familiar with their status program, I can't imagine that having gold or platinum status would hurt you at all. To me, the $95 select card seems like the best long-term value card since it does give you those 30,000 anniversary points. But I am curious to hear y'all's thoughts on that if you've kind of ventured into this ecosystem. Now let's move to the next card in the Wells Fargo rewards program again, the Autograph Journey. This is basically the big brother of the no annual fee autograph card that we talked about earlier, and it shares a lot of the same Visa signature perks, but since it is an annual fee card, it does have stronger travel protections, including up to $1 million in common carrier travel accident insurance, up to $3,000 in lost luggage reimbursement, up to $15,000 in trip cancellation and interruption protection, a higher cell phone protection cap of $1,000 instead of just $600, and more. Those are all great upgrades, but by themselves, that's not really going to justify the $95 annual fee for us. So the main credit that they give you to do just that is the $50 annual airline credit, which is a lot more useful than some of the other $95 annual fee cards that basically force you to use their portal to get that same value. Chase Sapphire Preferred, I'm looking at you here. But where the Autograph Journey really separates itself from its little brother are its earning categories. It gives you 5x back on all hotel purchases, 4x on all airline purchases, 3x on restaurants and other travel, and then 1x on everything else. In practice, this does overlap quite a bit with the Autograph card, but that bump to the airline and hotel purchases can make a huge difference depending on how much you're spending in those categories. If you're using the $50 annual airline credit every single year to make up the rest of the $45 effective annual fee on the card, you'd only need to be putting around $2,250 to $4,500 of spend in those boosted categories to make this card more worth it than just the free Autograph card with 3x back. But what really stands out to me about this card, earning structure wise, is that they either match or beat some of the highest annual fee cards on the entire market with just a $95 annual fee. Take the Amex Platinum, for example. Sure, you do get 5x back on all flights, no matter how you book them, but you only get 5x back on hotel purchases if you book that hotel through Amex's travel portal, which is way more restrictive than the Autograph Journey. And also with the Platinum, those are the only elevated earning categories it gives you. It doesn't give you the 3x back on general travel or restaurant purchases that the Autograph Journey does. And oh, by the way, did I mention that it costs $895 per year to have that card? Now look at the Chase Sapphire Reserve. It's a bit more in line with the Autograph Journey, where it gives you 4x back on hotels or airlines booked directly. But again, that card costs $795 and has the same earning categories. Obviously, both the Amex Platinum and the Sapphire Reserve have a ton of credits and benefits to help offset the annual fee, but regardless, it just goes to show that you can get a ton of value if you just care about earning categories from a lower annual fee card like this. Between the Autograph Journey and the no annual fee Autograph card, I would lean more towards the no annual fee version. And that's because it gives you more everyday earning categories and also still gives you access to Wells Fargo's transfer partner list. But if you really want those extra travel protections and these higher earning rates, then I would strongly consider adding the Autograph Journey to your setup too. Next, I want to talk about a card that you probably haven't even heard of before. And if that's the case, I'm really happy that I get to be the one to introduce you to it today, the Wells Fargo Attune. This is another no annual fee card of theirs, and it covers almost all of the most niche categories that practically no other credit card on the market can cover for you. Broadly, it earns 4% back on self-care, sports, recreation, and entertainment, and planet-friendly purchases. But when you zoom into what those actually mean, you'll see that this list is super long, and I can't even take the time to list all of them out. What I still want to do though is scroll through this entire list kind of slowly and point out some of my favorite ones, but definitely go to their website or pause the video to learn more about what this card will give you. Some of the highlights to me include barbershops, gym memberships, artist supplies and craft stores, florists, garden supply stores, every entertainment venue possible like golf courses, bowling alleys, and tourist attractions, pet supply stores, sporting goods stores, bookstores, movie theaters, antique shops, EV charging, passenger railways, and so much more. So effectively, if you're frequently shopping at places that you normally will only get 2x back on a catch-all card, the Attune very likely will cover that at 4x back for you instead. Unlike the Autograph cards, this one is a Mastercard, so it comes with a different set of protections, but it still gives you $600 in cell phone protection, which has become a theme with all of the no annual fee Wells Fargo rewards cards. I want to call out here again too that while Wells Fargo might market this as a cashback card, it also earns Wells Fargo rewards points, so it can be combined with any of your Autograph cards to transfer out to Wells Fargo's partners. This is a card that I could personally see slotting into my setup for sure for things like maybe my gym membership, bookstore purchases, pet supply stores, camera stores, and just all entertainment in general. So yeah, if it's one you hadn't heard of yet, I would strongly consider it because I just don't see a way where it doesn't help you out in some regard, even if just for like a small 10,000 point welcome offer, and then you can get rid of it after that year. But I don't know. I think it could be a forever keeper for a lot of folks. At this point, we've basically got all of our everyday earning categories covered at 3 to 5x back, aside from groceries. But what about that miscellaneous spend that doesn't fall neatly into one of those categories? Well, that's exactly where the Active Cash card comes into play. This is another no annual fee card, but this one gives you a flat 2% back on every single one of your purchases, regardless of spending category. Like most catch-all cards, it's not going to offer you much outside of that earning rate, aside from a super easy to get 20,000 point welcome offer for just spending $500 in 3 months. But honestly, that flat 2x multiplier is reason enough to justify this card in your setup. Wells Fargo also has a nearly carbon copy of this card on the business side, and that's called the Signify Business Cash. And that's one that I actually personally plan on adding to my setup down the line. The only real differences between the personal and business versions are that the business version is a Mastercard while the personal is a Visa. And more importantly, the business version comes with a much larger welcome offer of 50,000 points after $5,000 spent in 3 months. So that's the main reason that I want to get it. On top of it, not counting towards my Chase 524 status since it's a business card. Best of all, even though y'all are probably tired tired of hearing this at this point. Even though it's a business card product of theirs, it still earns Wells Fargo rewards points that can be combined with your personal autograph cards to transfer out to their partners. The only Wells Fargo cards that we haven't talked about yet are another set of co-branded cards, the One Key cards. If you haven't heard of these, which I wouldn't blame you for, One Key is basically a rewards program that ties together some pretty big companies like Hotels.com, Expedia, and Vrbo, which lets loyalists earn points and status across all three brands. Personally, I don't really use those brands that much, but if you do, then these cards might actually be right up your alley. And there are two versions of these, just like the choice cards, a no annual fee option and a $99 annual fee option. The earning categories between them really are exactly the same, aside from the fact that the $99 annual fee version gives you a flat 2% back on miscellaneous purchases, while the free version is only 1.5%, but all the other elevated earning categories are the same. The annual fee version, of course, also comes with a better welcome offer of anywhere from $400 to $600 compared to just $300 to $400 on the free version. And it does give you gold status instead of just silver status with the free one. There's really not a ton I want to say about these cards, aside from the fact that if you really like those companies I mentioned, then it might be worth looking into these. But I think that for most people watching this video, those would be pretty low on our priority list. At this point of the video, I would be pretty surprised if you were still a Wells Fargo hater, but I know some of y'all, just like a bad breakup, cannot get over the fact that they had that big scandal like a decade ago. As my buddy Luke's Points and Miles always says though, take just 2 seconds to search up your favorite bank with the word scandal behind it in Google, and you'll see that none of them are clean, and a lot have done much worse than Wells Fargo did. At the end of the day though, we're here playing this game not to pledge any allegiance to certain banks, but instead to take their money. So if anything, to me, it would make much more sense to go take as much money as possible from a bank that you don't like, rather than, completely avoiding them entirely. Out of everything that we've covered in this video today, there are 3 main things that I think Wells Fargo is currently missing. First, of course, is a grocery category on one of their cards. Again, you could get around that pretty easily, but still, that's a big hole. Second is a premium travel credit card, which we would hope that they do introduce in the future, but we don't know just yet. And third are airport lounges, which are only as valuable as you say they are. So it's kind of up to you whether or not that's a deal breaker. Regardless, though, I don't see a reason why everybody wouldn't at least consider going to get their cards for the welcome offers and trying them out for a year. Unless, of course, you just don't want many cards and want to focus on only one ecosystem. But again, most people watching this are here to keep gaming the system for a very long time. And Wells Fargo's cards do offer some really high value if you know how to use them. On my Wells Fargo credit card journey, I do plan on starting with the Signify Business Cash card just because it won't add to my 524 status and it has a great offer on it. But I mean, shoot, I guess I'm going to end up with the autograph card sooner than that one because of the whole Built 2.0, transition from Wells Fargo to cardless, which we didn't cover in this video. That's because there's just a little bit too much unknown about it right now. I did get this mailer from them recently, basically outlining that my Built card is going to turn into an autograph, which we did know. And the only thing I'll really say about that entire transition and the Built card is that I don't really want to sacrifice a welcome offer opportunity on the autograph by being forced product change to it. So I don't know, maybe I should apply for the autograph card before it gets product changed. I'm not really sure yet. Bottom line, I really do think that Wells Fargo's credit cards are underrated and that practically anybody could fit them into their setup, whether you're on team travel or cashback, to get some extra value from this game. And you can even use them as your daily go-to setup for sure, because they're very powerful in their own right. But if you're still on the fence about whether or not these cards make sense for you, feel free to book a consulting call with me down below and we can dive into it for your specific situation in detail. Now, if you want to see me compare Wells Fargo as a lender to all of the other lenders out there, go ahead and click into this video next. As always, Odin and I both really appreciate you watching this video. If you did enjoy it, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time.